All right, guys. So we're gonna go for time for 3 minutes. All right, one person's gonna go for the 3 minutes. All right, we're gonna do our bump sweep. All right, so it's 2 different ways I want you guys to look to get this. One, he's got his posture. I'm bringing my hands behind his forearms. I'm washing his forearms out to the mat. I'm gonna sit up to my elbow and then my hand. I'm gonna hug his arm and I'm gonna bump into him. I'm not gonna take him over all the way. I want you guys to punch him with your hip, all right? First thing we're gonna look for is come down with our Kimura, all right? So I'm gonna come back down to my elbow. We're gonna go to his wrist. We're gonna bring my arm behind his, go to my wrist, and then get my key lock, throw my leg over his back, keep his tricep and his elbow against my chest. I'm gonna think about taking the back of his palm to the back of his head, all right? The next thing we could look for to set up the bump sweep is this cross collar, all right? So I'm going for my cross collar choke. I feel him trying to posture up and get away. So I'm gonna let go and come up over his arm. Same thing, we're gonna bump into him. This time, I want you guys to go to the guillotine, all right? So this arm I'm going over hook and hugging into my body, I'm gonna reach over his head as deep as I can. I think about bringing my hand to my chest, all right? When I go back, when I bring my post off the mat, I'm gonna bring it to meet my hand, all right? Without Logan there, I'm trying to grab my the meat on the back of my pinky, all right? There's a couple of different grips you guys can practice. Either grabbing this grip on the back of your pinky, your S grip, or your reverse gable, okay? So that's a preference. You guys try which one you like the most for you, okay? So I like grabbing the meat on my pinky, right? So when we go back for our guillotine, I don't want to just go straight flat to my back and start stretching because he's going to bring his shoulder into me, he's going to start popping his head out. All right, so when you go for your guillotine, I want you to think about dropping to your side. So my left hip is off the mat. It's like I'm doing a big steering wheel. My right elbow is going down, my left elbow is coming up. All right, and then getting the tap. All right, so then you can do, that was the no arm guillotine. Pulling him down, I feel him trying to posture up. I show my bump sweep, all right? Then we're gonna go over his head, we're gonna go over his arm. Same thing, get to your side, and then get the tap. Okay? Any questions? All right, 1, 2. One thing that would make me go for the Kimura over the guillotine, so I clear his hands or whatever, I come up and he's keeping his posture high up. See, it's gonna be hard if his head's higher than my chest, it's gonna be hard to get this guillotine, right? But his wrist is still right there. So one thing we could do if we want to bring his head back down is to shrimp away and make some distance, because his reaction is gonna be drive into me and close that distance. So he's gonna drive into me and then his head's back down, right back into that pocket on the side of my hip, okay? All right, scoot down that way a little bit. All right, so the next one we're gonna do is our triangles, all right? So I've done 2 variations with you guys so far. We're gonna add a 3rd one, all right? So the first variation is off this cross collar, all right, and sleeve, all right? I'm gonna break his posture first. I'm gonna shrimp and get to high guard. Keep shrimping and get to high guard, all right? I'm gonna get control of his wrist. I'm gonna shove an arm down and then over and get my triangle, all right? And the second one, he's keeping his posture at first. I get control of his wrist, all right? I'm gonna shove his arm down. The arm that I shoved down, I'm gonna kip up and throw that leg over his shoulder, all right? So just like our backward shoulder roll, I'm gonna shove his arm down. I'm gonna kip up, get that hook, and the space that my hips off the mat, I'm gonna use that to hook and pull him down and break his posture, and then get my triangle. If you guys have a problem with kipping in your core, shove that arm down, put your opposite foot in the hip, lift your hip off the mat, and then catch it, and then bring him back down and get your triangle, all right? The 3rd variation, back to the cross collar, same side sleeve grip, all right? It's really similar to our scissor sweep. I'm gonna scissor sweep and step my foot to the mat a little bit further outside of his arm, all right? So that way when I shrimp, I bring my leg over top of his arm, heavy pressure, driving his arm into his chest, and then over his shoulder, and then go into my triangle, all right? So one more time. First one, cross collar, break his posture. Get to high guard, shove an arm down. Okay, any questions? Same thing, one person's gonna go for 3 minutes and we're gonna switch, all right? 1, 2. So, Now we're gonna go over our omoplata, all right? So I'm gonna think same side wrist, all right? I'm gonna be getting a C-grip on his wrist, all right? So from here, I'm gonna put my foot to his hip. I'm gonna look to do the same action, push my head over to the side, clamping down, all right? But I'm not just gonna stop there. I'm gonna think about my heel going to the side of his head. Switching my grips, so my left hand's gonna come to his wrist. I'm gonna think about crossing my ankles and shooting him straight to sit up. That'll help get me more weight higher up on his posture to bring him down. Hand over the hip, put my feet pointing out, all right? Shrimp out if I need to bring it, if he was still on his knees, bring him down to his hip, all right? So from here, you can put your hand to the mat or to his shoulder and sit forward and get it. Or you wanna be a goon, you can go over hooks on his neck and get a choke and lean into it, or get your seatbelt grip and lean into it, okay? Turn to the side a little bit.
This way?
Yep. So, grip on his wrist, all right? Opposite foot in his hip. I'm gonna shoot my leg up, clamp down. I'm gonna keep turning my foot to the side. Hand the grip off, cover his hip, cross my ankles, and shoot him straight, all right? Turn my feet pointed out. I'm gonna think about just sitting up to my knee, keeping this in my pocket. Sitting up to my knees, driving his hand to the back of his head. One more. All right, I can be going to his collar too. Make sure you cover their hips, that way they don't forward roll on you, all right? We're gonna go over counters to get put them back in the omoplata, but let's not have to do more work than we need to, okay? Any questions? All right, 1, 2.